Haas has been on an upwards trajectory in 2024 that they haven't witnessed in a while. Between appointing a new team boss for the 2024 season and a new driver lineup for 2025, Haas are making moves left and right, and the American squad has now managed to secure the partnership with Toyota, but they're not stopping here. From being the joke at the bottom of the grid to cementing their place in the middle of the field against RB, Haas are fighting for P6 in the Constructors' Championship. The American team is now focused on the future, with a brand new lineup with Ocon and Bearman from 2025 onwards. And while many tend to not pay attention to these moves made by Gene Haas and the new leadership from Ayao Komatsu, who has pulled a lot of strings from his Japanese connections to get the Toyota deal, the rest of the grid might need to take some notes as to how you restructure a team properly and take it to the next level in the championship through a well thought through long-term approach. With this in mind, how does Toyota help Haas's goal of competing for podium finishes, and what are the other partnerships that are building the confidence in the American squad spirits? It goes without saying that one of the most disappointing teams in the past couple of years was Haas, but that narrative is about to change sooner rather than later. Ever since they entered the sport in 2016, they haven't been able to compete nearly on the expected level, and on a couple of occasions they finished the season dead last, which was enough for the critics to say that there is no place for a team like Haas in the sport. However, after sacking Günther Steiner and making some proper investments, it seems like Haas are on the right path to fight in the midfield, or maybe even more now that the 2026 regulations will be anybody's guess. And part of that goes to the fact that Haas have changed their business model. As of now, everything they own was purchased from another company. The chassis of the car was purchased from Dallara, while every mechanical part was purchased from Ferrari. Obviously, it's the cheapest way to run a team in the sport, but that business model won't get you far away because you don't get to test your machinery as much, and therefore you cannot extract maximum potential out of it. The partnership with Toyota Gazoo Racing, which is the racing brand of the Japanese manufacturer, is going to boost the technical prospects of Haas as the partnership starts right from the Austin GP in a couple of days. This has been achieved thanks to hard work behind closed curtains from Ayao Komatsu. And while there will still be Ferrari engineers behind Haas, the modern facilities of Toyota will be revived in Cologne, Germany, which will help the American team extract a lot of potential and performance out of it. Yes, the technical parts will still remain to be purchased from Ferrari, but this is a process that Haas might want to reconsider headed in the new regulations, because they'll have quite a lot of offerings on their plate from Toyota, a team that's no stranger to F1. The facilities in Cologne were formerly used by McLaren, and with a proper investment, Toyota will rebrand them and restructure them properly for their comeback in the sport for the first time since 2009. Obviously, the engine will remain of Ferrari, but what Toyota is doing here is attracting more popularity to Haas, as we're talking about a potential engine manufacturer, or at the very least a brand that will likely invest long-term into Haas's prospects in Formula 1. After all, this is a team that is now fighting for P6 in the Constructors' Championship, and if they manage to do so, it will be a huge increase in the prize money compared to last year, around $40 million, which is enough to cover both drivers' salaries several times over and a considerable amount of pocket change to cover any spare parts caused by crash damages. This will be further aided by the fact that Haas are bringing a substantial upgrade to their home race in Austin, and the fact that the difference between them and Racing Bulls, who decided to change Ricciardo with Lawson in a bid to defend this 6th place in the Constructors' Championship, is just 3 points, which goes to show that anything is possible in the last 6 races, 3 of which have sprint events included. This will give both veteran drivers, Hülkenberg and Magnussen, massive opportunities to score points, as they've been visiting Q3 quite regularly this season, so if they manage to do so during the sprint races, scoring points is more or less guaranteed for the American team. Even if they finish 7th, it would be $30 million more compared to what they received last year. And while the lineup will be brand new from 2025 onwards, it goes to show that Haas are now a serious team for competing in the midfield as the benchmark of the American squad. What Haas is aiming at as their ultimate goal is to become independent from at least 2028. And they're now hoping that they can lure Toyota back in if they prove that they have all the ingredients needed to win races and compete at the pinnacle of the sport. Of course, the complexity of building an F1 engine would take Toyota around 5 years to have a proper engine ready, and the cost would be around $200 million per year. But given the fact that Toyota have now invested massively in Haas and are ready to commit to a long-term partnership with the American squad, this cost shouldn't be too big of a hassle for the Japanese manufacturer. There are lots of obstacles that Haas would have to overcome in order to compete with the front of the grid, with the first one being having experienced engineers and big enough budget. But it looks like with Toyota behind them, they're making the right moves left and right, as they become an attractive market to invest in all of a sudden in the Formula One business. Obviously, this is a move that Esteban Ocon would be very happy about, because it's probably one of the reasons why he signed with Haas in the first place. The trajectory was shown by Ayao Komatsu to Ocon, but the talks with Toyota haven't been revealed at all because the Japanese team boss didn't want to promise something that he wasn't able to deliver. And when talking about whether or not the Toyota partnership had to do something with Haas bringing in Ocon, he stated, "Not specifically, I did say to him we have a development plan to take this team forward and to make a reasonable step change, if you like. But the point where I was trying to finalize Esteban's contract, which was around Austria time, it was too early for me to guarantee anything to Esteban. I never wanted to tell Esteban something that I cannot guarantee, and then he signed from that understanding, and then I cannot tell Esteban 3 months later, sorry mate, I couldn't make it happen." Of course, Haas are still using the wind tunnel Ferrari in Maranello, and according to Komatsu, they will continue to do so. And as long as the regulations permit, the gearbox will still be purchased from the Italian squad. While the partnership with Toyota allows a bit more wiggle room and independence for Haas, the partnerships are the ones that are securing the money needed to operate on a higher level. And of course, the new lineup from 2025 onwards is something that they're investing in a lot, because they do have a race winner in Ocon and quite a strong driver in Bearman, who's ready to give it his all to show the Formula One world that he's here to stay. And after Bearman's performance in Jeddah with Ferrari, he's looking for the best opportunity to prove to the Italian squad his seat is with them within the next few years. Although a far target for now given Hamilton's deal with Ferrari, this might be part of a bigger picture both teams are working on over the long run, as Hamilton has a few more years in F1 before he hangs up his helmet and starts focusing on his personal affairs. When talking about the partnership between Haas and Ferrari, and whether or not we should be expecting some changes regarding this manner, the team boss of Haas said, "Our partnership with Toyota, just to be clear, is not to replace the Ferrari partnership. The Ferrari-Haas partnership is the foundation, and it's always going to be the foundation. The partnership with Toyota is not to take away from it, but actually enhance the fundamental partnership with Ferrari. What we get from Ferrari is really amazing. It's the foundation of the Haas F1 team, but the areas that the TGR can help us is outside of that. Again, we'll be completely transparent with Ferrari management from the early stage of this discussion, so we both have an understanding of what engagement we have in which area with TGR and how we need to protect the IP of each company." And it looks like Haas are not ready to stop here, as they've also announced a partnership with Orion 180, which Komatsu elaborated as the fastest growing US insurers. When talking about the new partnership that will further strengthen the financial backing of Haas, as well as the position in which Orion 180 puts the American team, Komatsu said, "I'm delighted to welcome Orion 180, one of the fastest growing and innovative US insurers, as the latest long-term partner of MoneyGram Haas F1 team. Orion 180 understands the value of charting a different course to compete with the top incumbents, something we fully understand competing at the pinnacle of motorsport. We welcome their trust in how we're evolving and look forward to delivering great value to them throughout our partnership." With only 16 sponsors, the least number of sponsors for any team currently on the grid, securing partnerships with both Toyota and Orion 180 is another feather on Komatsu's hat that add to his list of achievements in a short period of time. The team has been bleeding since inception, and adding some solid sponsors would definitely decrease the financial blow on team founder Gene Haas. Obviously, Haas are now under a massive wave that's been led by Ayao Komatsu, and while many would say that every success the team has had right now is because of the structure that Steiner has set in place, it's obvious a change of working culture from the Japanese team boss. This was one of the primary reasons why he was put in charge of the American squad, and Gene Haas is now slowly but surely proving to everyone that he's here to stay and not sell the team to the first bidder, which in this case would definitely be Andretti. With all this in mind, do you think that Haas are here to stay for a longer period of time? And more importantly, do you think that they could be competing up front sooner rather than later after their partnership with Toyota? Let us know in the comments down below.